Jimmy was authoritative jokes. The admirers was laughing. A fresh Jesse Eisenberg started account that letter and the complete flat went bashful because the words central afflicted everything. The Tonight appearance starring Jimmy Fallon. Studios 6A at Rockefeller Center. Edition Thursday night. Edition arranged audience. Edition celebrity bedfellow announcement edition movie. The accustomed accent of backward night television, banter, games, laughter, agreeable performances. Jesse Eisenberg sat in the bedfellow armchair announcement his latest indie film. He'd been on the appearance before. The account was activity well. Jimmy was in egg-wheel form, arise jokes, accomplishing impressions, accepting big laughs. Jesse was accomplishing his brand afraid bookish thing, talking quickly, gesturing with his hands, authoritative self-deprecating comments that landed perfectly. Aggregate was absolutely what backward night television should be, light, fun, entertaining, until the envelope appeared. A assembly better absolved assimilate the stage. Abnormal during our live interview, but not exceptional of. She handed Jimmy a baby manila envelope, a breast article in his ear, and bound aloof off camera. Jimmy looked at the envelope, confused. He glanced at his ambassador in the wings, who nodded. Jimmy's announcement abashed slightly, still professional, but now curious. Jesse, Jimmy said, captivation up the envelope. Our producers aloof handed me article and told me it's for you. They said it's a letter from Edition who capital to accomplish abiding you got it tonight. Jess's accidental address vanished. His hands, which had been gesturing animatedly, alone to his lap. A letter for me here. That's what they said. Jimmy connected the envelope aloft the desk. Do you appetite to accessible it? Jesse took it with abashed fingers. The audience, analysis article unusual, went quiet. This wasn't allotment of the planned segment. This was real. Jesse opened the envelope boring and pulled out a distinct allotment of paper, old, beat at the edges, covered in accurate handwriting. His eyes scanned the aboriginal line, and his complete face crumpled. Jimmy chockfull mid-joke. The complete flat froze. Jesse's easily were afraid so abominably the cardboard ashamed audibly in the studio's abrupt silence. His aperture opened as if to speak, but no complete came out. Tears began alive bottomward his face. Not the distinct breach of a affecting moment, but a bounding anatomy afraid sobs that he approved badly to control. Jimmy's smile evaporated. He stood up from abaft his desk, article he about never did during interviews, and absolved about to Jess's side. The camera's accolade to adjust. The roots chock-full their accepted attenuate accomplishments music. 300 admirers associates sat advanced in their seats, the amusement of moments ago absolutely forgotten. Jesse. Jimmy's articulation was soft, concerned, all traces of his host persona gone. Hey, man, what's activity on? Are you okay? Jesse couldn't answer. He captivated the letter to his chest, angled advanced in the bedfellow armchair and wept. Not performed emotion. Complete immoral grief. Jimmy below beside the bedfellow chair, one duke on Jess's shoulder. He looked at the cameras, afresh at his ambassador offstage. Can we booty a minute here? The ambassador nodded, authoritative a rolling action with his hand. Accumulate going. Accumulate filming. This is real. Jimmy angry aback to Jesse, who was aggravating to bolt his breath, wiping his eyes with the aback of his hand. Talk to me, Jimmy said quietly. What's in the letter? Jesse took several all-aquiver breaths. Aback he assuredly spoke, his articulation was almost aloft a whisper, but the flat microphones bent every word. It's from my acting teacher, he said. My aboriginal acting ABCdery from aback I was 16. He died aftermost month. I didn't know. I'd absent blow with him years ago and I didn't know. The admirers fabricated a aggregate complete of sympathy. Jimmy's duke backward on Jess's shoulder. His wife charge accept beatific this. Jesse continued, attractive at the envelope still in his added hand. She charge accepted I was activity to be on tonight. The letter is, it's from 23 years ago. He wrote it appropriate afterwards my aboriginal complete audition. The one area I got my aboriginal role. But he never gave it to me. He kept it all these years. What does it say? Jimmy asked gently. Jesse looked at the letter again, his eyes bushing with alpha tears. Do you appetite me to apprehend it? Jimmy looked at the admirers who were all nodding, afresh aback at Jesse. Only if you appetite to, man. No pressure. Jesse nodded slowly. He abundant the letter with afraid hands, took a breath, and began to apprehend aloud. To accept what happened next, You charge to accept who Martin Greenfield was and what he meant to a 16-year-old kid who anticipation, he ability appetite to be an actor. Jesse Eisenberg grew up in Queens, New York. Middle-class family, a cute kid, afraid kid, the affectionate of jailbait who apprehend constantly, wrote stories, acquainted aggregate too deeply, and wasn't absolutely abiding area he fit in the world. Aback he was 15, his mother appropriate he try an acting class. Not because he'd bidding absorption in acting, he hadn't really, but because she anticipation it ability advice with his anxiety, accord him a structured aperture for all the afraid activity he agitated around. The chic was captivated in a baby flat aloft a grocery abundance in story. 8 teenagers sitting in an amphitheater on folding chairs. The ABCdery was Martin Greenfield, a 62-year-old aloft Broadway amateur who had spent the aftermost 20 years teaching kids like Jesse how to admission their emotions, acquaint accuracy on stage, and maybe, if they were advantageous and formed hard, accomplish a career out of it. Martin was tough. He didn't accept in coddling. He pushed his acceptance relentlessly, ambitious honesty, vulnerability, commitment. Half the kids who started his classes abdicate oral a month. It was too hard, too exposing, too real. But Jesse stayed. Not because he anticipation he was good. He was assertive he was terrible, but because article about the assignment acquainted right. Aback he was in that flat assuming to be addition else. He could let go of all the all-overs that commonly bedridden him. He could aloof be. Martin saw article in Jesse that Jesse didn't see in himself. Afterwards chic one night about 3 months in, Martin pulled him aside. You're altered from the others. Martin said, you anticipate you're hiding, but you're absolutely revealing. That's Ray. That's complete talent. Jesse, 16 and insecure, didn't accept him. I'm aloof accomplishing the exercises. No, Martin insisted. You're active them. There's a difference. And if you accumulate alive this hard, if you don't let abhorrence stop you, your activity to do this professionally. I'm abiding of it. It was the aboriginal time anyone had told Jesse he could be an actor. Absolutely be one. Not as an amusement or a way to administer anxiety, but as a career, a life. 6 months later, Martin helped Jesse adapt for his Aboriginal Able audition, a baby role in an off-Broadway play. Annihilation glamorous. 3 curve and 2 weeks of rehearsal, but it was real. It was paid. It was the beginning. Jesse got the role. He was 17. He alleged Martin immediately, agreeable into the buzz about the alarm back, the offer, the contract. Martin listened to every word, appreciative and unsurprised. I knew you could do it, Martin said. This is aloof the start, Jesse. Aloof the beginning. Afterwards that, Jesse's career took off faster than anyone expected. More plays, a fresh television, a fresh films. Oral bristles years, he was starring in movies, accepting accolade nominations, alive with Admiral he'd idolized. His activity became a cyclone of sets and columnist tours and premieres. And gradually, inevitably, he absent blow with Martin Greenfield. Not intentionally, not maliciously, aloof the way it happens aback your activity accelerates aloft recognition. Casual emails became rare. Buzz calls became annihilation at all. Jesse anticipation about Martin sometimes meant to ability out. Consistently planned to appointment the old flat in Atoria, abruptness him, acknowledge him properly. But years anesthetized and he never did. The answerability of that blackout became its own barrier. How do you reconnect afterwards so abundant time? How do you explain the absence? 3 weeks ago, Martin Greenfield died of a affection advance at 85 years old. Jesse didn't acquisition out until afterwards the funeral. A alternate associate mentioned it accidentally at a party. Did you apprehend about Martin Greenfield? Such a shame. His wife said he talked about you all the time, you know. Absolutely appreciative of what you became. Jesse had gone home that night and cried for hours. For the ABCdery he'd lost. For the acknowledge you he'd never given. For the affiliation he'd let blooper away. Subscribe and leave a animadversion because the best able allotment of this adventure is still ahead. Now sitting in Jimmy Fallon's bedfellow armchair with cameras rolling and 300 bodies watching, Jesse captivated the letter Martin Greenfield had accounting 23 years ago and never sent. Dear Jesse, Jesse read, his articulation afraid but bent to get through it. You alleged me today to acquaint me you got the part. I could apprehend in your articulation that you didn't absolutely accept it was real, that you anticipation maybe they fabricated a aberration allotment you. I charge you to apperceive article and I'm autograph it bottom ward so you can't altercate with me the way you consistently do in class. The admirers laughed softly, a gentle, compassionate laugh. Jesse smiled through his tears and continued. Your activity to be an abundant actor, not because you're perfect, not because you don't accept doubts, but because you accept the rarest allowance an amateur can have. You acquaint the accuracy alike aback it hurts, abnormally aback it hurts. You don't adumbrate a after dress or charm. You aloof appearance up fully, honestly, vulnerably. And that's what abundant acting is. Jesse's articulation broke. He paused, wiping his eyes, afresh affected himself to continue. I'm autograph this letter because I apperceive how your academician works. I apperceive your activity to succeed, and I apperceive your activity to agnosticism every footfall of it. Your activity to anticipate you're bluffing people. Your activity to anticipate you don't deserve it. Your activity to analyze yourself to anybody abroad and consistently appear up abbreviate in your own mind. So, I'm autograph this bottom ward and I'm befitting it. And anytime aback you charge to apprehend this, I'll accord it to you. You were consistently meant to do this. You were consistently acceptable enough. And I consistently believed in you, alike abnormally aback you didn't accept in yourself. The flat was absolutely bashful except for Jesse's articulation and the casual detect from admirers' associates wiping their own eyes. Jimmy had tears alive bottomward his face. Quest adulation had his arch down, drumsticks abandoned in his lap. Jesse apprehend the final lines. I'm so appreciative of you, Jesse. Not because you got this part, but because you had the adventuresomeness to try. That's the hardest part, the trying. Aggregate abroad is aloof work. Accumulate trying. Accumulate assuming up. Accumulate cogent the truth. And bethink that about in a Toria, in a flat aloft a grocery store, there's a bad-tempered old acting ABCdery who knows your activity to change the world. All my adulation and belief, Martin. Jesse bankrupt the letter anxiously and captivated it to join his chest. He looked at Jimmy, who was still below beside the bedfellow chair. I never got to acknowledge him, Jesse whispered. I meant to. I consistently meant to. And now abaft the scenes, Fallon fabricated a accommodation that defied every producer's expectation. Jimmy stood up slowly. He looked at the audience, afresh at the cameras, afresh aback at Jesse. Aback he spoke, his articulation was bright and certain. Jesse, I charge you to do article for me. For him. Can you do that? Jesse nodded, confused. Jimmy accomplished into his anorak abridged and pulled out a dejected agenda card. One of the cards he acclimated for his address, covered in his own orthography with jokes and bits. He looked at it for a moment, afresh at Jesse. This is how I bethink my jokes. Every night I address them bottomward on these cards, and at the end of every show, I bandy them away, alpha alpha the abutting night. He captivated the agenda out to Jesse. But I appetite you to accumulate this one. I appetite you to address article on the aback of it. Whatever you ambition you could accept said to Martin. And afresh I appetite you to accumulate it with his letter so you'll consistently accept both what he said to you and what you would accept said to him. Jesse took the dejected agenda with abashed hands. He pulled a pen from his abridged and wrote for 30 abnormal while the flat watched in complete silence. Aback he finished. He bankrupt the agenda and tucked it into the envelope with Martin's letter. Thank you. Jesse abreast to Jimmy. Jimmy put his arm about Jess's shoulders. He knew. Teachers consistently know. That's why he kept the letter all these years. He was cat and mouse for the appropriate moment to admonish you. The admirers rose as one. Standing ovation. Not for the cine Jesse came to promote. For the moment they aloof witnessed for affliction honored. For affiliation preserved. Share and subscribe. Accomplish abiding this adventure is never forgotten. Afterwards the show, Jesse had Martin's letter professionally effected alongside Jimmy's dejected agenda card. They adhere in his home office. On the agenda he'd written, I'm still trying. I'm still assuming up. Acknowledge you for teaching me how. Jesse now teaches acting workshops a lot a year. Free for afraid teenagers who aren't abiding they belong. He starts every chic the aforementioned way. Addition already believed in me aback I didn't accept in myself. Now I'm casual that forward. Martin's bequest didn't end with his death. It multiplied.